It had been quite a Friday, uh, and all the characters now are heading to bed. Maybe I'll do something kind of different. See if I can give you some idea about what was going on with all these characters. Some of them you've probably forgotten. What were they thinking at the end of this amazing day? There was Bubba. You probably don't even think about Big Bubba. Well, he hasn't gone. He missed work Monday and didn't do well Tuesday either. It had been a week, or almost a week, uh, since his unfortunate encounter with his shameful encounter with Elaine. And as he went to sleep that night, he thought about his plan. He had a plan. You'll find out more about that later. So there was Big Bubba. Who else? Let me think. Let's start at the moot point. There was Gladys. No, yeah. There was Gladys Diversey, the schoolmarm. What was she thinking when she went to bed and to sleep that night? She looked at her hand and her engagement ring. That's what she was thinking about. She had been sort of accepted that she'd probably be a spinster, and here she was going to get married. So that's what she was thinking about. How about, let's see, Omar's wife, Indira Patel, Dr. Patel, what was she thinking about? She was probably thinking about that silk. She did love silk, and she pondered over that, and she was kind of amused at that idea that Edgy had thought it was white, Samite, mystic, wonderful. Her husband, Omar, I know what he was thinking. He was all excited about the Friday night he'd had and his new friend Edgy, and he was thinking about that scroll, and how tomorrow night, Saturday night, he'd have that there. He'd be able to get his clientele involved. What a fun thing! So that's what he was thinking about. Rachel and Jacob, how about them? Well, they'd stayed late, and then they'd ridden home in their buggy, and no doubt, or to their, Jacob had left Rachel off and then gone on home. No doubt they were thinking about each other, young, in love, and even Freundin, the horse, the filly. Jacob, she was Jacob's horse, but they already were thinking about her as being their horse, because they weren't engaged, but they were in love. So that's what he was thinking about. And who else? Driving home, Elaine had so much to think about. What a day she had had, and that, where that came from, that she started singing and made up that song, and she was so happy to be back at the moot point. And then she also was thinking, she was thinking about that movie they'd watched, The Taming of the Shrew, and what Edgy had said. And she thought, she was young, just barely turned 18, but someday she'd marry, she hoped. And what would that be like? That's probably what she was thinking as she was going to bed. Now, getting further away, do you remember Vivian? I guess you probably don't know too much about Vivian yet, but Vivian, that character, she hadn't been there that Friday night, but I think about her. What was she thinking? And I can get myself in her mind. I suspect that Vivian was a little lonely, in spite of her flamboyant way and her entertaining talk and all that. That's just how I suspect that. And then the boss. Remember the boss? He was one of the Catholic Six. Now we're getting even further away. What was he thinking that Friday night? And I suspect he was thinking about what Edgy had laid on him. That idea that the Catholic Six should do the retired king thing and go back to battle and do something new, and could he do that? The boss, he was the oldest of the Catholic Six, and so that's probably what he was thinking about. And his wife Portia, how about her? I imagine that Portia, she was younger than the boss by a good bit, and I imagine Portia was thinking about business and career and stuff, even though she was getting close to retirement herself. She had, she was a judge and she had to think about various cases. And speaking about that, how about Tatus? What do you suppose he was thinking about that Friday night? He's a puzzle, because what did he do with himself? But I can guess that Tatus was probably thinking he wanted to get lots of rest that night because he wanted to look his very best. He was looking forward to Monday, which was going to be the hearing, and he was going to have a chance to really show that he probably could have been a great lawyer if he'd gone into that, and so he was probably looking forward to Monday. Now, Violet, she had so much to think about. Probably what she most ought to think about would be that Monday trial coming up, or not trial, but hearing. But she also thought about a lot of things. She thought a good bit about that movie, The Taming of the Shrew. It brought memories back, and she thought also about what Edgy had said, which was so shocking. And Edgy, for his part, eventually that was gonna just get her all riled up. So then she started to think about the scroll itself, and what she'd do on Saturday morning to try to, with that piece of silk, to see what they could do. And that got her, made her happy, because she was thinking about going to the studios at the Museum of Popular Art, of Arts and Crafts, and to the shops and see what she could do with that. And with that, she went to sleep. And then now, how about Edgy? What was he? I know what he was thinking about. He was worried. He was worried. He maybe shouldn't have said what he'd said about husbands and wives, and he was so afraid that he might have offended Violet. Who was he to say? He'd never married, and Violet, she'd married twice and divorced twice. So that would have got him pretty worked up. But then he turned his mind to the scroll as well, and that was that list of words, and it was a puzzle, but it was also kind of boring. So he went to sleep pretty much right away after he got thinking about that. And let's see, now far away, Wedge. What was he thinking? I know what Wedge was thinking. He was already asleep because he'd gone to bed early, but he went to sleep thinking about his goats and his pigs and his ditches, and so that's pretty much. I hope I haven't forgotten any, but that's pretty much. Oh, Lance, he was sleeping in the woods. And I know, or I'm guessing that he was just sleeping because he needed to rest, and he was looking forward to the next day, Saturday, so he could get ever closer to his home and to his to Morgan, to his queen.